Hi, welcome to the fifth devlog for my RPG. I think this is going to be a bit of a shorter video today because I think it was a pretty productive week, but a lot of what I've done isn't going to be as visual, or it'll be like immediately visual. The first thing I worked on this week was implementing a shop menu. So this NPC, I have them as like a shopkeeper. Say buy, actually I have 0 gold, so it's not going to let me right now, but I spawned in with a few potions and mega potions, so I can go up to 3, and mega potions I can go up to 5 there. So let's say I sell them all, and it asks you to confirm, gives you the total, and then I could buy 2 potions with that. So just the basic logic of a shop works pretty well. I haven't really designed the UI, I just slapped it in there. And the second thing that I added in there was a bed, which is not textured right now or modeled, but that'll heal my HP and MP, and it also restores my status effects. Just because now that I've added status effects, I wanted to be able to heal up really quickly, and it would help me to play the game longer while I'm testing. In battle, we got a few things. The bat's going to summon a snake, so you got that animation in there. Now I have those minions animated. Say I run around until I find a necromancer, because they have sheep, which is another new animation I added. And the necromancer will summon a sheep. And you can also see that I have a little fade in and a zoom on the minions when they come in. Oh, by the way, necromancers don't summon sheep. They summon, I don't know, a skeleton or a zombie or something, but I just applied random spells during testing. Another thing we can notice is that, so if I attack with the fire mage here, I gave him a lot of strength. He does 12 damage. If I attack with the healer, oh, I added a critical hit. That just happened. That doubled the damage to 6, but it would be 3. I do have stats in there, so if we go to the pause menu here, just kind of slap them in there, but I put in strength, defense, agility, and mind. I have a damage calculation between your strength and the enemy's defense. Agility also determines your critical hit chance, which right now I have doubling damage, and critical hits make it so that if you do a critical hit, it doesn't cost any time to do that attack. So that's kind of how I wanted to portray faster characters, is like, yeah, though they're more likely to, strike at a weak point because they can get around you faster, and it's a contest between your agility and the opponent's agility. But also they save that time where it doesn't cost them any time to do it. So if they get that strike and they get lucky, then maybe you get an extra turn or an extra move on one other party member on the battle clock. And I'll just say right away, mind doesn't do anything yet, but I have some things in mind for it. Right now, the damage, so if I get into the battle here, would be, I think I put the physical stats of the demon pretty high, which is why I'm not doing any real damage to this. Right now I've got it as the attack, your attack over their defense, so it's a percentage where, let's say you have 120% of their attack, then you'll do 20% more damage. Or 120% attack of their defense, you do 20% extra damage, so that's like a percent modifier that kind of ranges around 100%, but it could go up or down from there. But I wanted that to scale up with levels, so it's also multiplied by the difference between your attack and defense. So like, I didn't want that to just be like, okay, you do 120 times some constant at low level, and then it's like, okay, if you have a 12 attack and they have 10 defense, then you do 12 damage, and then it's the same if you do have 120 attack and they have 100 defense. I didn't want that, so I added that difference between their attack and defense, plus another constant that kind of like brings that floor up at low levels. And the amounts, I think, scale pretty nicely for what I think the values are going to be like. And the agility contest for a critical hit is just your agility over their agility times a constant that I think like is like a baseline rate for your critical hits if they're tied. Besides that, a lot of the things I've been doing have been just making sure a bunch of different rules in battle work properly, so implementing different rules I had in mind, like when they summon creatures, like let's say this bat summon a snake, and they die, then all those minions run away, which will become relevant once I implement some revival spells, and that'll happen to you too, you'll lose your minions. I'm thinking of having them have a chance of running away at the end of battle, but having abilities that mitigate that, so you could pre-summon possibly with like at a high cost to bring in and prepare for battle. That'd be one thing you could do to prepare. Besides that, I've spent a lot of time fixing bugs this week, so it's not going to be as visible, especially because they're not here anymore. But in battle here, I had an infinite recursion bug between the player turns and the enemy turn. because when I added those status effects in, so last week I added status effects and minions, which I added a check at the beginning of the turn where like, so that they don't get locked down, where if they're all asleep at the beginning of the turn and you can't do anything, you still pass, it automatically passes the turn. So I have that check. But because it was checking, and then it was checking at the end of you doing something, and then it was something the enemy turn was checking, it did get into a loop once you killed them all, and then I moved where it was checking all the enemies were killed. Enemies won't try to summon anymore if they already have the maximum number of summoned minions. I'm thinking of calling them familiars, by the way. Minions is too associated with like minions, I guess. I did have a bug where, let's say I was attacking and that message was displayed, I was able to switch the arrows between the enemies there. That is disabled. And in the pause menu here, when I would cast a spell, I had it so that when this was displayed, I could cancel out of that, but now it didn't let me do that. So those things are fixed. Some of them took a little while to track down, and they're not as exciting to show. The other thing I've been working on, well, first of all, the shop logic took me about a day, and then each of those animations for the minions took me like half a day. Then I was like bug fixing the rest of the week, and another thing I was doing this week was I was learning little bit of music theory and learning how to use FL Studio, just in case I want to make some music and possibly some sound effects too in there. Nothing to show for it, I was just learning. And actually a few people have reached out already to offer to make some music for the game. So the fact that I think people who want to share their music are getting interested at such a small audience already is great. It's fantastic, and I really appreciate that. I was playing around with music, but I'm not very talented at it, and I think that's the one thing I will eventually ask for some help with. What else? There was one more thing. Oh, yes. I am going to hold this back, but I think I have a name for the game that I'm pretty happy with, and I have a concept for a logo that I think really suits the name and sort of comes from and sells the concept. I just have a mock-up of it, of what it would look like. If it would be better, but like the shape of it, kind of blocking out the silhouette of that logo, and like it's themed around what the game would be like, and I like what I've chosen, but I'm gonna sit on it. I showed it to a few people who are close to me, and I think I'm gonna shop it around to some other indie devs and ask what they think about it first. But I'm holding it back. It could very well be settled already. I was kind of getting just tired of posting these videos with Untitled Godot RPG because I don't think that helps. But I'm not gonna say the name yet. I think I've chosen it though, and I think I'll be able to. Market's not the right word because I'm not going to be selling this game until it's much like it's not done. Obviously, it's not going to be done for a while. But I want people to know when they're coming back, if they're looking at the game, what game is this, right? So I wanted a name, and yeah, thank you. That's it for this week. But thank you very much.